So I came, I as a student in 2011. I will share what happened and how did I convert. He invited me to on-campus church, but he did not let me know that it's an on-campus church. 2014 May, I submitted and I declared that I'm going to get baptized. So I think that was the beginning of the tougher part. I declared to my mentor that I'm no more a Christian. So, namaste everyone. Thank you, Dilip ji, for having me over. I recently met Esther in Metro Detroit area. So, that was another life coming in full circle for me. And I happened to mention it to her that you coming here in Detroit and the two other key people who have gone through this conversion process and then coming back to Sanatan roots with me were in the same room, and it was very emotional moment for me, very touching and lot of nostalgia. That being said, I will share what happened and how did I convert. So I came, I as a student in 2011 at University of Texas, San Antonio. I started a master's in biotechnology degree. Um, I met a friend. So I'm pretty extrovert person and friendly person, very social. And I was having hard time making friends. Um, and a lot of problems, like with the community, with the let's say Indian diaspora when they come on campus, or in general too. And I would acknowledge that is a problem, that you do not have that fellowship amongst yourself, and you let me behind basically. um, and one of the friend who befriended me, one of the person who joined later, um, a year later actually in 2012, or not even a year, 6 months later, for a spring session. So in January, that's when he started the degree, and he invited me. So eventually he befriended me and he invited me to on campus church, but he did not let me know that it's an on campus church. um, but he said that there is a gathering, you will have nice music, nice food, and nice people. And I went to that church. It was, if I remember correctly, that was Wednesday. They used to gather on campus, and I went to that, and I really, one of the best experiences in the US so far, because you had the music, you had the nice people who are smiling at you, who want to be your friends. So suddenly you feel that you are important, start feeling that you're important. After which I kept going, they kept inviting me. I kept going, and eventually I joined something called small group, where few girls gather together and we study Bible together and do some additional activities like playing games and or going out together as a small group. That's how I got into church, on campus church, and small group. And all this time, even at the first sermon, when I had gone for the first time, I did hear that, they're saying that Jesus is the only way. But I did not pay attention to it because I was amused and enchanted by the environment, the ambience there, which was music and just had good friends and who are American. And so I was enchanted by just being there, as I felt important that being part of that congregation. Later on, as because this group is an on-campus group, so my mentors or my friends were very young, yeah, very quite younger than me. So then I had a lot of questions in terms of when I'm reading Bible, I would have a lot of cross questions. which the young small group leader is not able to answer properly, because they didn't have a worldview. They have not read other religions, so they didn't know that, what am I asking exactly. So I was, for the same reason, I was placed into a better small group. And you can say that in the hierarchy, these were the most devotional, dedicated Christians. So they were twin sisters. They are twin sisters, and they started coaching me now. So now I joined their small group. So for a time being, I didn't leave my old small group behind, or the old church behind, but also joined a new small group and another family church, which is associated. So all of them are like associated with each other, but they do their congregations separately, because that family church has its own building, it has its own dedicated space, whereas the on campus church is being held on campus. So I am going to pretty much all my week evenings, when I'm not working or studying, I am hanging out with them. So and these twin sisters are very dedicated Christians, as I said, very devotional, very emotional, too deeply entrenched into Christianity. And the basic questions that I had all along was very basic question of why Jesus is the only way. And I'm reading otherwise. I'm reading in a Hindu or Jain faith that it's a very different philosophy. We see divinity in everyone. We read that God is everywhere, or the divinity is present everywhere. So this is in very opposing view to Christianity. And I had a lot of questions. So even when we are reading Bible, I would ask all these questions, and quite surprised with the training that the sisters had, that they seemed very convincing. And I think with the growing desperation in terms of friendship, what was going on in my life, I submitted to Christianity. Um, and the concern about me getting baptized had started coming from the very beginning. So I said that, okay, I am learning, and I will do it someday. So 2014 May, I submitted, and I declared that I'm going to get baptized. So I think that was the beginning of the tougher part now. So I became a very ardent, something changed in me for 2 years. Following this, something completely shifted in me, where I was very, following it to, let's say, orthodox Christian in a way. And I had started hating my own philosophy, my culture, heritage, identity, everything. But also at the same time, deep inside, I'm fighting. Am I doing right? So that subconsciously, that question was always there, I guess. Cutting it short, I got married. I didn't tell my husband. We had a lot of traumatic life periods, and eventually in 2020, I think I had already started coming back, starting like mid of 2019, where I was reading more and I was being more inquisitive. And by 2020, March of 2020, there happened a mob lynching of two Hindu monks, two Hindu sadhus in Palghar, Mumbai. And this had a connection with conversion racket, which was ongoing in that area. And these converteds were behind the mob lynching. The video, when I saw that on television, on the Indian television, it shook my soul, and I could not sleep for 2 good nights. And then I researched. And when I researched, you have this internet now, and everything came up, in terms of, and I think the first few videos were of Esther and Rajiv Malhotra ji. So you mentioned two of these names, Dilip ji, and those were the videos that gave me inspiration to read more. Then I read the historicity of Christianity, its impact in India, why the conversions are happening, so on and so forth. And that was just eye opening. I declared to my mentor that I'm no more a Christian, and I want to come back to my roots. And I'm very happy not to be Christian anymore. And she tried to convince me with her rationale that how Christians are persecuted in India and across the world, in fact. At that point of time, I didn't have an answer to that, honestly, because my readings were still not complete or as not as deep as they are now. And yeah, I left it. I gave my first interview to Esther anonymously because I was scared at that time. I wrote an article. Dilip ji inspired to write me an article in Hinduism Today. He asked me to join Hindu Speakers Bureau, which he directs, and yeah, I became Hindu speaker. Now I do a lot of activism and Hindu advocacy, and seeing the dangers of conversion. It's very heartbreaking to see it every day. And um, I counsel youth. I have counseled three so far. And honestly, I failed to bring them back to their roots. And I think I just need more training in terms of how to reach out to their consciousness. But I share my story, I share what Hinduism says, but I think that it has a lot more than that, where either they have become very stubborn or there are something else at play which I'm failing to understand. But yeah, this is my story. So I'm back now, and I call myself a wounded tigress or a wounded lioness, and who is not going to give up. And until the last breath, I just said that I'm a warrior and I'm gonna fight for Hinduism. Yeah. Thank you.
Great, Divya. We are very
Yeah.
proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Open for question. Anybody has question?
Yeah, hi Divya. Thank you so much for
Hello.
sharing your story. It was very enlightening. So you did come from India, Divya. So you think that you basically converted because you felt that you were not a part of the Indian student community at the university, and this is the community that attracted you. I mean, was that the case?
It could be, but I think it was more the my inquisitiveness, which was always there, which got killed for almost 2.5 years, starting my baptism until my marriage or my firstborn, rather. But I think it was more because I had never been exposed to Christianity.
Hmm.
I'm from Indore, Madhya Pradesh, and I studied in Hindu schools. I
Okay.
grew up doing yoga, doing transcendental meditation. So I studied in Maharshi Mahesh Yogi's school.
Hmm.
And I have never been exposed to Christianity this way. So let's call it that I was attracted to this new religion, new
Hmm.
philosophy. Also, that because of my inquisitiveness in spiritual arena, that is what attracted me.
Okay.
Great.
So you did marry somebody who's a Hindu?
Yeah, yeah. I was. We already knew in 2010 before coming here that we're gonna get married. So he's a Hindu Bengali.
But he did
Yeah.
not know that you are a Christian.
Yeah, he didn't know until my first pregnancy. In between I gave up the idea of marrying him. But you know what? I asked my Christian mentors at that time, the twin sisters, that should I marry him or not? Because Christianity says that don't yoke with non-believers. So and that's exactly what, when I say that you undergo a lot of trauma, mental trauma, identity crisis, confusion. This is what it means, that you have this thought, you're struggling with it for so many years, before getting married or until the day. And you can imagine that, what your body and your mind is going through.
Yeah, it was a nice talk, short. I have a question. Like, once baptized, you can come back to your roots. Is that any church will hold you back?
They tried. The guy who converted me, he tried. My Christian mentors tried. They can, because I have not signed anything officially or anything, they could not do anything per se, but they tried talking me out of it. And, but I just cut the connections basically. I told them, do not reach out to me, period.
Oh, in
So,
that case, okay. If you sign something, is it you are bound to Christianity or something?
no. Anne is
Mhm.
saying no, but I don't know about that, honestly.
Oh, I don't. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I
I do
haven't.
did recommended, and I recommend to all who have converted before. Please sign it that you are no more, whatever your Christian or Muslim. Notarize the document, and that's part of your will. So, in case if you die, the other party may come out claim that you were Christians. You may be put it in the grave because you are not there to defend it.
That's a
Yeah,
very good thought, Dilip
yeah.
ji. I should consider doing that as well because
Okay,
they
put
have pictures of me being baptized. Hundreds of people were there, so they are witnesses to what I did, right? So very well, so that they can claim me after death.
because when you are not there, who is there to defend who you are, Christians or Hindu? There is no documentation that you are Hindu
Right,
other than your videos.
right.
But definitely write it up that you are no more, have some small ceremony at mandir that you are formally converting to Hinduism, have photos
Yeah.
and have part of the will. Yeah, good.
Yes, Divya, it's a great, courageous story. Thanks for sharing
Thank you.
it. Requires a lot of courage
Yeah.
to come out and share this thing. So I see you are another Esther, and hopefully you will be able to write like similar book and you'll be able to inspire a lot of people. I'm more curious on the side where you said that no, when you came and then you become part of like this entire process where you found some mentors and you were visiting church and everything, those ambience and music and all those things that was kind of an attraction. So being on that side and now being come back, do you have more insight for senior communities of Hindus? No, it's like Dilip ji's age. They are leaders, right? But um how they engage with the youth in a contemporary way. So do you see that our Hindu Dharma traditions, and that includes everything, Jains or Buddhs or anything, Sikh tradition, like do we need to stand with the same way with Abrahamic faith, which relatively look no little more polished versus maybe our tradition look more maybe dogmatic, how it is no cited by Abrahamic. Do you see that we need to change the way we present ourselves?
I think what, in my understanding, Sanatan Dharma change a little bit itself to contemporary situations. A good example could be bhajan clubbing, you know.
Yeah.
That's what Gen Z is doing now. Very interesting concept, right? And I think it's in line with that polishing or trying to attract. I can correlate it to what I heard in church, right? Or the worship, the Christian music, the worship music. So it sounds very familiar and similar. So there is no need, but I think it happens organically because the generation tends to go away from traditional stuff. And if you want them to be rooted, you have to innovate, you know. So along with the traditional stuff, you have to give them something which is new, which is keeping them engaged. For example, let's say my daughters, I have two daughters, 4 and 8, and if I am not innovative with them, they might lose interest, who knows, right? Especially my younger one, who is like very mischievous. So for keeping her attention, I have to provide something new to her. So I don't mind unless, it's in the realm of, or it's not adharmic, and it's not, over the top. So it's okay. But what brought me back, honestly, let me tell you, the moment my one of the mentor from Twin Sisters told me that I have to give up listening to classical music or classical Indian classical dance forms. And let me tell you that I just love them. I mean, there is no way that I can. And something died inside of me when she told me that. And I think that was one of these moment that I started spiraling out. And I told myself, I can't do that. There is no life for me without classical music and dance. I listen to it, I dance, I sing. I'm not classically trained, but I like to listen to classical music and dance. And so, but I dance. I mean, I perform. Not so. I don't know. Like people say, it's good. So but this is what brought me back. I can't do that. I love the festivals, the colors. Mahadevanji has the background of the temple. I love all of that. I can't live without it. So yeah, keeping it traditional but addressing Gen Z. You have to incorporate few things here and there.
See, there are
Thank
two
you.
takes on it, and then you go on it. That one is in Divya's case, she has been installed with Hindu values, clearly, not formally, but so much like dance and this.
Yeah.
And so that was her foundation. That's what we need to make sure that you take our kids in America to Balvihar and provide the foundation. Even though you think you lost it, just like Divya, one day it will come back. And
Right.
Trupti, to your points, our mandirs are designed for people who are coming from India. They talk in Hindi or Sanskrit. They keep on doing rituals, and all that. There is no sermon, no explanation. And when a 4-year-old child, when they start making some noise, everybody says, "Shh!
Yeah. Yeah.
You killed it."
Mm-hmm.
That person going to hate that mandir so much, and the religion goes with him.
Right.
So
Right.
we need to completely revamp our mandirs to the
Right.
need of. When my kids comes to mandir, they because they've been coming. I mean, they come and do whatever little thing out of respect they do it. But do they feel connected? No.
That's right. We have
So
to
we
do that.
need to have completely. In New Jersey, there is the one Swami Tadadnandaji. He converted to Hinduism, and when I go to his mandir, yeah, it's big auditorium there, and one corner he has a mandir and he has a guitar and he sings nice. I mean, kids, when I take my Balmir kids over there, they get glued to him.
Mhm.
And then it's the start right away it goes into discussion forum. So we need to change our mandirs, uh, and so it's a lot needs to be done. And please go ahead.
Oh, hi, Divya. Thanks so much for sharing. Really beautiful and very strong of you to do that. Again, when it comes to what we are and what we aren't, I'm the kind of person that instead of emphasizing what we shouldn't do or what we aren't, emphasize what we are. And yes, absolutely, state plans, whatever letters, whatever paperwork you want to leave behind, so you will be treated correctly as an elderly or dead. um, I I usually joke with some people who come to my door and wants to sell me mortuary, whatever, insurance and things. And I say, oh, no, don't worry about me. I'm going to be burnt in my backyard and I'll be cremated just perfectly. So, you know, even though you might be, in my case, yeah, I'm a cultural mutt meaning crossbreed. So best practice and speak of what we are. And again, when it comes to our kids, and yes, if we now have older kids, then we may have missed a little bit presenting whatever age they are, and especially if we have little ones, presenting them with books, stories, or just taking our time to do that. I was taking a class actually with the HUA here now with Mahabharata class, and a lot of people were saying that a lot of times those stories were told to them, or actually the previous generation, by the grandparents or by the parents. So they got it that way. And nowadays people have to take classes because we kind of missed some of it. And again, if we want little kids to read, provide them with books. So yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. It's really beautiful.
So one thing, you know why, and why Dilip ji is suggesting that, and it is very welcomed, because others who might have come back to Sanatan, they would shut up and do their work. As I told that I am a wounded tigress, I am not shutting up and sitting down. People know me, and they are seeing me. They know that this lady is not going to die anytime soon and going to do a few things before, or going to dent the Abrahamics before she dies. So that's exactly why it comes as a good suggestion that my death could be utilized by them, that they would try to make something out of it if they could not make a living person do what they want. So that's exactly why I consider this as a very serious and welcoming suggestion.
We need to think that Divya could be your own daughter you just send off to college. And you never know. You will, parents will never find out. Is it true, Divya? Your parents will never find out what you were up to.
Yeah, they didn't know, but again, they didn't get exposed to Christianity, and they're very simple people, so they could not figure out. And I was abusing them. Why are you doing this idol worship? Why are you going to temple? And I called them, devil, evil, all kind of names, and
Oh boy.
I did so much, to them that it breaks my heart now. But they now are very proud of me, that what I'm doing, they're very well aware. But
But
yeah,
Divya, how did they react at that time when you were saying all those things? How did they answer you back?
they had no idea, honestly, Dilipji, that what should they say. But the only basic thing they could tell is that this is not what Jainism or Hinduism teaches, and be respectful, come to temple, don't do anything, just come and be there in the premise. And just for her, I think I went few times, I would not even enter the premise. And I could only imagine now that how sad she would have been, or my dad is not very religious person, so it's more my mother. But also my father, but also they have they have been, let's say, brainwashed as well, or they have miled down themselves, because all the invasions that we have gone through, it's the transgenerational trauma we are carrying. So none of them are have that clear understanding. Now they have crystal clear understanding that what is ongoing, because I keep teaching them, I keep telling them that this is what is happening. That's why I went. This is why people are converting. What they are up to for it, what their plan for India is, or what their plan for Hinduism is. So now they know everything. So at that time they were very innocent.
So, Divya, when is your book coming out?
Dilipji keeps insisting I should start writing, even if it's a small paragraph, and I keep, I, I should start
No,
writing.
because you already have full story, and you should be
Yeah,
including all those how you gave pain to your parents and how they reacted, how they could not explain the way you were supposed to be explained. So your story
absolutely.
is really great, no doubt. Start.
I will start writing. I am not promising you, but because I don't know if I'll be able to fulfill it, but I can tell you I'll
Maybe
start
let me
writing.
talk to your church pastor how he convinced you. Maybe I should use the same technique. No,
True.
Artna,
I got
please.
a message from her yesterday.
Uh,
How are you doing, Divya? I really miss you. And I was gonna write, almost gonna write, I'm here on a mission, madam, to destroy. So, I don't know how you're gonna feel about it. But yeah, she has reached out to me on few occasions. And she's a lovely person, I mean, she loves, if that Christianity was not associated, because my mission is completely different now. So I cannot fake up and make up in front of her, but I love her dearly. I love all of them dearly. But if it's a fight, it's a fight. So let's be clear about it.
That's really, great, Divya. And I think, going back to what Trupti's question was, that, I think what I have two children here, I've raised, been in the US for close to 40 years now. And I think my experience has been that, yeah, was not very religious a few years ago. But I think what we really need to do is, get our kids into cultural aspects of India, because if you learn classical music, if you learn classical dances, if you learn Indian languages, a lot of it is ingrained with our religion and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, we did take an effort. My kids can speak Sanskrit, they
Oh,
can
wow.
speak Hindi, they read Hindi also. My son plays the tabla, and my daughter, I'm a grandmother now, and my daughter sort of insists that, Mom, you have to come and spend more time with my son because he needs to know how to speak
Mm.
an Indian language. It is important. So I think it's not more for religion. I think if we teach them that cultural aspect, India is so rich. And as Divya mentioned, that classical music and dance is something that have brought her back to her roots of Hinduism. So I think rather than telling the kids, let's go to the temple and you have to say this shlok and you have to make it a fun activity by making them learn these different things. I did take my kids to India very often. They went to India. Actually, it was more of an immersion for them because they lived in India in the summertime, and that's how they learned the language. My in-laws live with me. My parents lived a chunk. I know it's difficult, but having grandparents, older people in the house where they naturally did certain things, naturally did the puja. Today is Diwali, let's do this. So I think all that we need to create that environment as an immersion, not
Mm.
that they feel that they are forced to do something, because that's where the problem occurs, is when we really force them to do something. I think it should just come naturally within the family environment, and I think that should work.
Great. Let's take
Can I
sure.
address just a little with a little comment? I have
Sure.
a differing opinion here, Aparna. The reason I'm saying is that a lot of Hindus today are cultural Hindus. You will see even from the leftist and communist side, they're culturally associated, but they do not want to be religiously or by philosophy associated with Hinduism. They are the same people who are trying to disengage yoga from Hindu philosophy. They're the same people that trying to call it Christian yoga. So although it's not one size fits all, there are many things could work and nothing could work. But when they understand the big picture, the Hindu philosophy, and for that, they need to be taken to temples, they need to follow certain rituals. I have made sure that my daughters are going to temple every weekend. They're going to Bal Vihara. They are chanting the shlokas. Every morning, the first thing they wake up, I say Karagre vaste Lakshmi Karmadde Saraswati Karmule Sthito Brahma Prabhate Tu Kar Darshanam, or Karmule Sthito Tu Govinda Prabhate Kar Darshanam. And I have a set of shlok for them when they are bathing, when they are eating. So that is, the essential training. Otherwise, what is going to happen? That they're gonna connect Hinduism only to the dance and the music, and not to, they would not be interested in understanding the big message that the Hinduism is trying to
No, but that's
deliver.
why I'm saying that is language immersion is equally important,
Yeah.
It
is
is,
to
it
teach
is,
them Sanskrit
certainly.
and stuff like that. So when you're learning these languages, they automatically will start learning all of this stuff.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you
So,
you can you can make your own path for them, make
correct,
your
yes.
own how they're gonna, what you want for them. But what I'm saying is that have that divinity aspect, have that ritual aspect, temple, everything needs to be there. Otherwise, they will not. They're just going to identify themselves as cultural Hindus, not religious
Agreed, agreed.
Hindus.
Yeah. But I think we need to be more creative, as Dilip
Yeah,
ji is
yeah,
saying,
yeah. That's what
that
I
make it
said.
more
Even
fun, make it
Trupti
more
ji
creative.
asked.
So that actually keeps things going and alive, and
Yeah, that's why I said Trupti ji asked that not polished, but creative,
yeah,
do what the generation wants, but also these traditionals have to be there at the center of it.
Good. Maybe I can put Mahadevan ji on the spot. Mahadevan ji, the whole class or whatever, you want to share something, some thoughts?
No, no.
What's
So,
going on in your mind?
yeah, one of the things you mentioned to her is about writing a book, right? So, one of our HUA colleagues, Esther Dhanraj,
She knows very
recently,
well.
yeah, recently published her book Unbaptized. We are actually doing the book launch in many of the cities. We recently did it in New Jersey, then in LA, and we are going to do now in Houston. And so I think unless you write and publish and get the information out, it will not go to a bigger audience, basically, right? So what Dilip ji is saying is absolutely right. You should look at
Definitely.
putting it together as a book.
Good.
I
Yep.
sure will, Madhuri ji. I
No,
will.
definitely. Divya, if you need a team, we can put the team together. I
Sure,
personally will donate $1,000 towards your book, and let's make it work. Yeah.
absolutely.